night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling.
Oh, look at me. I'm retarded. I'm a globe.
Oops, I clicked the button a little early. My bad. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, coming to you live 250 miles above your imagination in the International Fake Station, having the same glitches that NASA has us. So you can tell that everything's real. I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Sum Ting Wong from the Chinese Communist Empire, and he is here to make sure that we toe the party line here and also brainwash people into thinking for themselves. My goodness, great day in the morning. We got everybody in here tonight. We got DJs showed up here. Saddle Bum, Justin Johnson, Twilight Nights, Push Button 62, Rob, Blue Pac-Man. Haven't seen you in a little bit. What's up, Blue Pac-Man? Let's see who else we got. Tony Coriolis. That was something funny. If y'all didn't see Flat Soy's debate about Coriolis with Bob, the science guy, Bubblehead Bob, that was a good one. Never first, never last in REM. All right. Twilight Nights is always the first one in here. I don't know how they do it. They've got an inside track on something. I don't know how he's pulling it off, but he is. Wow. It's been a great weekend. How is everybody else? Has everybody been having a good weekend? I hope so. We hope so. Yeah, we finally got in the chat. Been watching you for a while. Thanks, DJ. Must be I come on normally later than what you allows for your schedule. There's a lot of people like that. I catch a lot of people on the restream, and that's cool. That's cool. But it's good that you're here in live in the chat. And if you want, click the link. Come on up if you'd like. I had some interesting discussions over the weekend on Facebook. Our friend Martin, I don't know if y'all remember when we had Martin from Facebook on here. He was the guy that when I said, well, how do you know that the weight is due to gravity? He said, because it is. That may jingle some bells for you, but he's still trying to push this thing. And I shut him down. So it was kind of mean what I did. And I said, okay, your physics are all accurate and everything like that, which I don't have any doubt. Nobody is disputing the effects we see on objects. Okay. What is in dispute is the cause of it. Okay. So I was trying to get this through his head. And I told him, I says, okay, let me see how accurate your physics actually are. I says, if I fire a 62 grain, 5.56 millimeter projectile out of an 18-inch barrel underwater at a level of 5 feet from the bottom in a horizontal trajectory, how far will the bullet go? I can figure that out. No problem. Okay. Hours went by. He'd jump in and start asking, what's the margin of error? I said, there's no margin of error. You said you were accurate predictions. So No margin of error. Took him 30 hours. And then I had to break the news to him. He says, so what does that prove? I said, nothing. I just wanted to know how far that size bullet would go underwater. That's all. And it kept you busy for 30 hours. So bravo, cool beans. And I think it kind of pissed him off a little bit. And I really don't care because I'm really getting tired of these people. I really, really am. I'm really tired of these brain dead zombies that are out there. And today was a great example of that. Okay. So the wife had to go to Walmart for something. And I said, hey, I want to go with you. I said, I'll drive. We'll go up there. And I needed to get a decent taking your life into your own hands to begin with, because it is like, I think that the Walmart is like the biggest special ed bus in the world. I swear to God. So right off, I go turn down this aisle to park, and here's some asshole cross park with a pickup truck taking up 2 handicap spots with no sticker, which was bad enough. But then the ass end, the whole bed of his pickup truck was hanging out into the aisle. At first, I thought he was pulling in or something. No, that's where the dumb son of a bitch parked at. And it only got better from there. I haven't been in Walmart for a while. I avoid that place like the plague, right? But I go in there and it's just like instant, duh. Okay. And I don't know what they've done to the place. They've redecorated or something. The only thing that I can call it is modern dystopia. I mean, it looks like a big fucking gray warehouse inside now. It's horrible, right? And the employees all look sullen, unhappy. I mean, what the fuck? And they don't think. So this woman, when I go up to ring up my shit, she's gabbing about bullshit with this person that's supposed to be giving a bitch money and leaving, right? No, they're going to sit there and have a fucking conversation about shit for all day. And meanwhile, she's got that belt. And every time I put something down on the fucking thing, she hits that belt and it's coming up there. And so everything starts mashing together, other people's shit that's not mine. And I just looked at her and I said, stop making the belt move. I don't care if you finish your conversation, just stop making the belt move. Okay, there's no need for it to move. Okay, I'm putting the shit right in reach of you. There's no need for you to move anything. It was just, that's my first and last trip there, hopefully this year. I cannot get it. Just the level of dumb that's occurring around me at every point in the brainwashing. And I like to call these holidays like we're having right now is propaganda reinforcement days. Okay. Propaganda reinforcement days. Today we celebrated what's called Memorial Day. And this is where we take time to reflect on and remember those brave men and women who gave their lives for your freedom. Okay. Your freedom was never in jeopardy by anyone other than your own government to start with. I'm just going to go there. That's the biggest danger to any perceived freedom that you may have is your own freaking government. Okay. Secondly, as you memorialize and mourn the fallen, we are at the same time rattling our sabers and clamoring for more. And these young people see this shit and they go, wow, if you go get blowed up in a war, then all these people will adore you and you get this special memorial. Oh my God. Oh my God. Those should we should do Memorial Day with shame. Is the way Memorial Day should actually be celebrated, is with shame. Because most often these conflicts that we seem to always be embroiled in, always are embroiled in, are never for what they tell you they're for. Never. And all it seems to be is like a grand sacrifice of the firstborn sons of each generation. I mean, we've had no time whatsoever collectively peacetime with the United States. We are always involved in armed conflict somewhere, fucking with somebody, exploiting their resources, their people, or both, somewhere at all times. Basically, and I was a soldier, okay? And I hate it when people say, thank you for your service. I'm going, don't. I didn't do anything for you. Okay? I didn't do anything for you. Your freedom is not. Well, are we glitching out? So nobody, I don't know if y'all missed that part there. It looks like I froze up on the thing here for a second. Let me see if I get it back. Am I still live? Yeah. What are we doing here? Everything good? Uh-oh. Oh, I may glitch out, everyone. I may glitch out. If I do, don't go anywhere. I will be right back, okay? Because we're getting some freaky shit. Anyway, what I was saying was your freedom is not over in other countries, okay? Your freedom is not in Iran. Nobody in Iran is going to come over here and steal all your freedom in a big bag and take it over to Iran, okay? This bullshit that people are believing that get millions of people slaughtered every century over idealistic shit that's pushed into their brains by politicians and propagandists in order to fulfill the financial dreams of some little scumbag. That's all the fuck it is, ever. Okay? If anything, the last time a soldier died for an American's freedom in the United States was here in the United States, and that was in the 1860s, and he was wearing gray. If you want to know the reality of it, that was the last man that fought for American freedom, was the Confederate soldier in the American Civil War. And that was a profit game as well. All right. So your freedom wasn't in jeopardy from the Kaiser. Your freedom was never in jeopardy from Tojo, nor Hitler, nor Mussolini, or Ho Chi Minh, or Saddam Hussein. None of these people jeopardized your freedom. Do you know who did jeopardize your freedom? The United States government. And you know how they did that? They said, hey, we're a bunch of assholes and we got ourselves into a problem with another country. So we're going to force you by law to go over and do our fighting for us because we're a bunch of asshats. You're welcome. That's your freedom. And you keep doing it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Boom. Oh, let's put up a monument. There we go. And so like I was joking with the wife. I said, you know what? We don't have enough fucking monuments. We need to get some war going here so we can have some new, fresh monuments, something from this century. I'm tired of old war monuments. Let's have some new war monuments. You know, what we refer to as World War I was supposed to be the war to end all wars. How'd that work out? Such a catastrophic and devastating conflict. So many people uselessly slaughtered for nothing. For nothing. I said, we never can do this again. We need to put up a memorial to remind people of the horrors of war. Let's put out this movie called All Quiet on the Western Front. Let's have this book out on the bookshelves so that people can understand the true human cost of war. Did we pay attention? Shit, no. Here's some propaganda, folks. Gobble, 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 gobble. Suck into it every time. And then we've got these little propaganda reset markers. Little propaganda reset markers. 4th of July. Memorial Day. What are we doing? What are we really doing? They're just little reset markers that we put to mark out throughout the year so we can kind of like act like shit changes all the time. It doesn't. It's just the same old shit. I can't even believe we're 6 months into the year this already. You know? And here we are. It's barely out of fucking Afghanistan. Still got troops over in Syria getting wiped on and shot at. And God knows where else around the world. And now what are we doing? We're going to rattle our sabers with China. We're going to rattle our sabers with Russia. Let's get some fresh war. Let's have some fresh war. Some war from this year. We're tired of Ukraine. Let's have fresh war. Everybody goes right along with this is getting irritating. This is getting really irritating with my internet connection. I'm not enjoying this. This is pissing me off. Anyway, the reason I went earlier today, hopefully I'm back by the time you're getting the rest of this. Is my stream really getting that fucked up? It looks like I'm. See if I can cut a couple things out so that I can. Yeah, that should be. Is everything okay now? Yeah, it seems that way. But yeah, let's have some fresh war. That's what we need. You know, and I'm sorry, and it's not to, and I'm not trying to diminish the tragedy at all of all the young men and women on all sides that have uselessly given their lives in pointless warfare. But they were an issue of there was a product of their own ignorance in most cases. To swallow up that propaganda. How many guys went down and jumped in line to enlist after 9/11, believing all that bullshit propaganda, believing that Al Qaeda and fucking Saddam Hussein and all that shit had anything to do with it, believing it, wanting to go over there and get some payback, right? They believed it. They wanted to go over there and get some payback and to take out the terrorists who had boldly and brazenly attacked America, right? Bunch of them didn't come back. Even the ones that came back didn't come back. They never do. You can't subject human beings to that kind of shit and expect them to be normal. Are you kidding me? You sent them to hell and expect them to resume their life. Are you shitting me? This is what y'all have, ladies and gentlemen, and this is why I try to get people to understand, man, get your head out of your ass. Understand what the hell is going on in your world, man. I said to the wife today as we got to the Walmart, I said, Jesus Christ. I said, if these people really knew how their world actually worked, they'd lose their mind. They would lose their minds. I'm glad I came to it in gradual piecemeal, you know? If you was to drop that bomb on somebody all at once, they'd lose their freaking head. They wouldn't know what to think. And here we are, 2024, no better than we were in 1917. Still wanting to be the big bully on the block. That ship has sailed. That's all over. That's all over. Something's on the cusp of coming down. And you people, you are alive to witness things that people have never seen. There's big shit on the horizon. So heads on a swivel, everybody, and keep that in mind. My God, you know, can you imagine that? How many of y'all out there got kids that are of possible draft age if they were to bring that up? How would you feel if they implemented the draft and called up your boy and said, "Yeah, you're going over to Palestine, or you're going over to the Ukraine, or you're going over to fight Chinese, or some other ungodly thing. How would you feel about that with your kid? Think about that. These politicians never think about that because their kids don't go. And if their kids do go, they're in the rear with the gear. They're never up front. They ain't never up there. Who was up front? Most of them in Vietnam. Who was the big majority that they sent there? Draftees. Who were majority of the draftees? African Americans. Basically Operation Hide Behind the Black Guy. Let's get the enemy to you. Listen, the Union did that with the Irish too. The Union did that with the Irish. They made these Irish brigades and they sent them in wave after wave to make the Confederates use up their ammunition. And then they didn't have to pay them the enlistment bonuses that they were promised and shit. See, you finish your enlistment, you and send them up. Oh, where are we going, sir? Fredericksburg. Cool. Attack that stone wall. What? Yeah, they did that. Your United States government. Good people. Good fucking organization. They're always looking out for your best interest. I'll tell you what. Oh my God. Batters up immigrants, right? Somebody said to me, they said something about that board. He said, what do you think about that? I said, I think that looks like a target-rich environment. Anyway, I don't give a shit if somebody comes here, man. I love this country. I love the people, but let me tell you something, man. This control system's got to go, brother. That's all there is to it. I can't say it any plainer than that. There's Jehovah's daughter Barbara showed up in here. Got Thrashless Smith. Who else I got in here? It came in since I was yammering on about the Make Stupid People Famous is here and Enter the Net. Glenn Souch. Good to see everybody, man. It's a Mojo. What's happening, brother? Dude, Mojo. I put some of that in I cleaned my bong completely out, right? And I put a little bud of that shit in there and went, and let me tell you something. Rockets, brother. Bill Clinton hightailed it. Yeah, he didn't go. Listen, Fortunate Son. I love that song by CCR, Fortunate Son. That's exactly it. And this is the thing they always have when they got war. They always have music that goes with it. You know, even with the Iraq thing they had, we'll put a boot up your ass. It's the American way. You know, Statue of Liberty getting all pissed off and all that shit. And World War II, they had, what was that one? We're going to have to slap the dirty little Jap and praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. That was another good one that they had. Goodbye, Maria. I'm off to Korea. But we're a culture of war. We are. The United States is a culture of war. We have a predatory bird on our as our national bird is a predatory bird, not a defensive bird, a predatory bird. Okay. Our national anthem, what's that about? Oh, it's about war. Yeah, rockets blowing up and shit, and rockets red glare and body parts in the air and dead people on the ground. I mean, why not? Let's just make it what it really is. Sick. It's a sick society, and we always have to dress it all up afterwards with movies to make them look, like they were just and noble causes and shit. Look how many movies were made about World War II, portraying it as a just and righteous cause against evil. This is what we do. Australia's anthem is gay as fuck. Well, why do we have this? Why do we have an anthem and you have to have a certain kind of flag and a certain kind of bird? I mean, who the fuck decides all that shit? And why? Why do we have that? That's just more propaganda buzzwords and shit. That's all it is. Just like this Memorial Day. Oh yeah, this is this guy and we're glad that these people went and fought and died. You're glad that people went and fought and died when you were never in fucking jeopardy in the first place? What? It's really sick. It's really sick, y'all. I'm sorry, they just and this might upset a few people that well, you're dishonoring. I'm not dishonoring. I'm not disparaging any of those men or women that gave their lives in those campaigns, many bloody campaigns that the United States seems to find themselves embroiled in. But the reality of it is that you have to look at it on face value for what it really is. And I think it's highly ironic that we should mourn and honor people dying when needlessly, and at the same time clamoring to have more of it. I mean, just watch over this whole course of this weekend. How many different war movies did you listed on your streaming services, on your cable service, whatever else like that, right? Every last bit of it. No, I'm not saying that we shouldn't, remember those, but let's stop. Let's not. How about we look at a memorial as an F on the report card of humanity? Okay. And what that F represents is, hey, you guys, here's a period in time where you had troubles. And instead of resolving it peacefully, you fucked it up. If in reality, what there should be is memorials to the prevention of war, not memorials to war. That's dumb. Here we are over 110 years later, since World War I started, right? 110 years later, the war to end all wars, because it was so brutal, so horrible that no one would want to repeat it, right? Yeah. So we'll wrap that one up in 1918 and start another one in 1936. Okay. Just enough time for another generation of firstborn sons to be slaughtered on the battlefield. Perfect. Perfect. Almost like it's planned. Wouldn't you think? Almost like it's planned. Oh my word, y'all. I have to wonder sometimes. So we have these, and this is some of the dipshit stuff we do. So this here propaganda marker point reminder that we have, we call it Memorial Day. We use it for a lot of things too. That's when everybody opens the pools. People have been programmed that you're supposed to barbecue. You're supposed to open your pool. This is when people, isn't it amongst the elite that they start wearing, not wearing white anymore or some kind of shit like that. I don't know. It's definitely a marker point, you see. And then we come after a couple more months of that, and then we juice it up again real good with the 4th of July, where we celebrate independence that we really don't have. I want off this fucking place, man. I can't. This is why, listen, we got to get people woke the fuck up to reality, man. This is the kind of craziness that we're living in, and nobody notices it's crazy. It's like being in an insane asylum, and of course nobody in there knowing that everybody's fucking crazy because they're crazy. I mean, and you're like going, how do you not notice that everybody in here is crazy? It's like, I don't know. It's hard to get. I worked with a Vietnam veteran for 8 hours today. No mention of Memorial Day. Yeah, he probably knows what it's all about. Listen, even though we've only got a few declared wars under our resume, we are always at conflict. Iraq was never a declared war. Afghanistan was never a declared war. Vietnam was never a declared war. Korea was a police action. Whatever the fuck it was we did in the Philippines between the Spanish-American War and World War I, God only knows. I mean, we're always, if you know about General Smedley Butler, he wrote a book called War as a Racket, and he described himself as no different than a henchman for Al Capone. He says the only difference is Al Capone controlled a city, they controlled nations. Exactly that. Exactly that. Military is nothing more. It's no different than the soldiers for Al Capone and the ones that work for Meyer Lansky, and they have their little war. They go to the mattresses. That's the same fucking thing, just on a smaller scale. That's it. And what are they fighting for? The perceived loyalty of their boss. There it is. Once again, it comes down to one guy had a beef with another guy, and a bunch of other guys got killed for it. I say what we do is just say, well, looks like you, Mr. Politician, got yourself into a problem with some other guy. Care of it. Okay? But we're not doing nothing about that. No, we're here in case somebody tries to attack us and harm our people. Okay? That's what we exist for. That's what the military exists for. Not to exercise our muscle on other nations. Now, a few of you might be wondering why I went a little early tonight. Well, one is because Ryan on Burn the Corporate Fiction, as I understand it, is supposed to have a stream tonight at 10. And I don't want to overlap his thing because I'll probably end up being on his show too. So keep that. That's why I went on early tonight. And I just wanted to get that little rant out of me about the, wake up for what this thing really is. Let's stop looking at it as a way to glorify these conflicts. And as you mourn those that have lost their lives in these useless conflicts, let's see if we can't, come together in our heads to find ways to stop that. And one of those ways is that when your government comes to you and says, hey, you have to go off to war, you just say, no, fuck you, because they can't jail everybody. And I'll tell you another thing too. Prison is much safer than a battlefield. So what are they going to do? Throw everybody in jail? What if everybody said, no, fuck you, we're not going. I don't agree with you. I know if they drafted me to sent me over to shoot at Palestinians, I'd probably run over to the other side and shoot the other fucking way. That's where my beliefs are. I'm not going to fight on the side of wrong. And if I'm forced to fight, I'm going to be on the side that's right. And that would be the people that are being unwarrantedly attacked. In any conflict, I defend the defender. Don't ever defend the aggressor. The aggressor wants his ass kicked, or he wouldn't have put himself into harm's way willingly like that. So, how are we doing with that? David Young is here with us. Pepsi Man. I saw Mrs. Pepsi Man. Let's see. I saw, didn't I? Jeremy Bird come in here with us. Let me see who else we got up here. I saw Benny Boy. What's up, Benny Boy? No, I saw her somewhere in here. Pepsi Girl. She's in here. I know she is. She watches. Secretly watches. Sigil. Nice. 100% war is a ritual sacrifice to weed out the men so there's none left who would be able to stand up to government. You got it, Sigil. Sigil, you are on it. There's Pepsi Girl. I knew it. I knew she was secretly watching. And the worst part is we get these movies that come out glorifying shit, right? Glorifying this kind of thing. Like, let's take, for instance, a real classic, The Sands of Iwo Jima, starring John Wayne. Mr. Marion Morrison was his real name, Marion Morrison. Never experienced a shot fired in anger in his entire life. But he always portrayed the brave soldier rushing headlong into danger and enemy gunfire. And boy, that propaganda works so well on these young minds. Ooh, even the newer movies, it works. It works. They get in there and they go, "Whoa, I can get in there like that, boy. I'm young, dumb, full of cum." Some guy says, "Hey, go attack that fucking machine gun nest." And you look and you have to do it because, hey, I got these medals and ribbons and shit on my coat. So, hey, go. Yes, sir. No, motherfucker. You want that shit? You go get it. I'm out. I don't want it that fucking bad. Yeah. Saving Private Ryan, Tora. The Longest Day. Oh my God, yes, The Longest Day. That's a great one though. The Longest Day has bit parts in it played by actors who later became big stars. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty wild because you'd be watching it. There was another one I was watching. I think it was Battle of the Bulge, and this little bit part, this guy comes out there, and he's from Los Angeles, a Hispanic guy from Los Angeles. He's real young, and he's freaking out because he never saw snow before, and he's picking it up and he's playing with it and shit. And I was like, "Holy crap, man! That's Mr. Rourke from Fantasy Island, man! Look, he's just a kid." But yeah, that's one of the reasons I like watching old movies because you see some of these actors in it that never, you know. Deborah gets the most awareness. What is this? For LGBTQ per days and months per year out of any other Americans dead or alive. What do you think about that, Sergeant Kane? Who's Deborah? No. What are we talking about? Other Americans dead or alive. What do you think about that? I don't know, man. Awareness for LGBTQ. It's kind of hard to not be aware when there's dudes dressed up like women, shining a flag in your face and shit, and saying, "Look at my feminine dick," it's the awareness is there. They can't help but make themselves aware. Yeah. Apocalypse Now really does that. And what's the Full Metal Jacket? Full Metal Jacket kind of shows you the reality of it too. Yes, Mr. Suba. In Ram. What's up, my man?
Hey, Dave, how are you?
So how you doing tonight? Oh my God, I love the shirt. That'd be great if you're ever in an orange forest. You'll blend right with the camouflage, orange camouflage.
The only reason I come on, Dave, is I wanted to tell you about a video I watched the other day. This Iraqi veteran had a female Karen trespasser onto his property, and she was assaulting him, and he ended up getting arrested by this gal. She was lying to the police officers. He got arrested. He got sent to prison for 90 days, jail, basically. And he was talking about how the court system, the legal system, and everything has gone to hell in the country. And this guy literally, I wish I could find the video, he torched his uniform live on YouTube.
Oh, I saw something about that where a guy torching his uniform. Yeah. Listen, this is the thing too, and man, that's why I said when people have come up to me and say, "Oh, well, thank you for your service," and I'm like, I didn't do anything for you. I didn't do anything for you.
No, if you were servicing me, you'd be sitting right around the perimeter of my country, making sure that nobody does come in here and do vile and unworthy things to the country.
Right.
The country.
Originally we were only supposed to have a standing Navy, not a standing Army.
Right. Look at the police officers of today.
They are a standing Army. Absolutely.
They are. Yeah. They are.
Absolutely. And of course, the attitude reflected, they are trained as though they are at war with the people. They dress as though they're going to war. So they're going to act as though they're at war. Okay. It's just like their behavior will change based on what they're dressed. Okay, this is a known thing. Have you ever heard the old term "dress for success"?
That's it. That's
Okay.
it.
If you look like a businessman, you'll act like a businessman. If you look like an FBI agent, you'll act like an FBI agent. If you look like a soldier, you're going to act like a soldier. That's how it
Absolutely.
works, man. And it's so easy to get people to do that. So, here they are out there. It's not even in the top 10 most dangerous jobs in the world.
No, my trade is a lot more dangerous than that. More iron workers die every year than
Oh,
cops
yeah.
die every year.
You know?
And yeah,
What's
I
that
mean,
tribe up there, upper Michigan and Canada, I believe? They were building a bridge, and the reason they use the men of this tribe was because they they just have no fear of heights.
yeah,
These guys just don't have any fear of heights, no acrophobia amongst any of the men. And while they were working on a bridge, it collapsed and it killed a bunch of them. Now, the elders of the tribe were women, and they made a rule that there can only be no more than 25% of their tribe men working on one job at one time, because
amazing.
they almost lost all their men.
Yeah, there goes their breeding stock.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
Basically, yeah.
that's dangerous shit right there. But these guys, they're told that their job is very dangerous. They're told that everybody's out to try to kill them. It's more important for them to come home at the end of the day. So if they're not willing to shoot an old lady or a child, then they don't even belong there. That's the way that they're trained.
Oh yeah, you can't have an IQ over 100 to be a cop.
No,
What is it,
well, and
120?
that shows.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that definitely shows, man. I
So once
mean,
you get up to that IQ, you begin to think for yourself a little bit more.
mhm. You'll question things. Somebody gives you an order that's something fucked up, you're liable to question it. Whereas if
Yeah,
you're just an idiot order follower, you do anything just because some guy with shiny shit on his shirt told you to. I mean, is that
yeah.
really a basis to do anything by? Because some guy with a shiny shit on his shirt told you to, or he has more stripes on his arm than you?
I was just following orders.
Yeah. Well, the culpability comes down to the one who commits the act.
Yeah.
I mean, if I went and murdered somebody and I did it because somebody else told me to, who goes to prison?
Both
I
of you.
do.
Well, save he paid you to do it, then you
Well,
both
if he
go.
paid me to, but yeah, well, even then,
But
the real guilt even outside of the legislative aspect of it, under natural law, who is actually guilty of the murder? Even if somebody else paid the person, they went ahead, accepted whatever to do something that goes against natural law.
the actor,
Yep.
participating actor, is the one guilty.
Absolutely. I agree that the person is also culpable to a degree because of their actions of coercing that person to do it. That's a grievous sin. But the most grievous sin is upon the person that actually committed the act, regardless of the reason. As long as the reason was not based in defense, then it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
That's in my opinion, I believe that's the only justification for taking another human life is preservation of another or your own.
Yeah. And what really happened to the world is when the courts got everybody to participate in the driver license to carry on their God-given right to travel and brought in the driver license. Most people don't know it, but do you know it, Dave, where the term drive comes from, the driver?
Yeah. On that note too, my wife was at a yard sale over the weekend and she went early in the morning. I got up and went out to have my coffee, and there's all these books sitting on my chair. And I was like, what? And I looked, and there was a Black's Law dictionary, 6th edition. I said, no shit, where'd you get this? She goes, 50 cents at a yard sale.
No shit.
50 cents. And it's a 6th edition. Now, I already had 11th edition, but what they've been doing with each successive edition is they're removing definitions.
Manipulating the book to suit
Right.
their needs.
They're not changing them, they're removing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the 4th and I have the 5th. My 4th edition, I paid almost $200 for.
Yeah, that's a hard one to get. You know,
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Why would that be? Where did I put
They
that?
don't want you to know.
No.
Anyway, so you know where the term drive comes from, but the rest of the people might not.
Go
And
ahead.
I'm going to
Go
tell.
ahead.
Okay, the term drive comes from the cowboys driving the cattle to market.
Yep.
That is where the term drive comes from. Back in the early 20s, you didn't have to have a driver license to drive your car around, to travel around in your car. You didn't have to have a driver license. The only reason you had to have a driver license was to participate in commerce when you are actually making money off the road. Some of these people, they quit educating the people on law. Your family used to teach you about law, and then they indoctrinated you in schools, and they never taught you law in school. And is what happened is the police officers started giving people out, just ordinary everyday travelers, tickets for no driver license. And these people would go into the courtroom, and we're talking this in the 20s, and the judge would say, well, if you go get a driver license, we'll dismiss the charges. If you don't, we're going to charge you $20 and you'll get 3 days in jail. The driver license is $5. What are you going to do?
Right.
And so they got everybody to go buy a driver license. Unbeknownst to the people, they don't need a driver license, save they are in the commerce, making money on the roads.
Well, also, it's not just cattle. When you're making any kind of group of animals travel in one direction, you're driving them. Okay. And this is why like a stagecoach with multiple horses was a driver. He was driving a team of horses. He was a teamster.
Yeah.
And that's why the transportation union is Teamsters to this day.
Absolutely.
I think they have a horse head. Don't they have a horse head and a horseshoe as their logo, the Teamsters?
I'm not sure about that. I've never really looked into it. I don't know how to get on my computer. I'm just learning the Steam yard right now.
Yeah, it's a wheel and 2 horse heads on it. Hang on, I'll bring it up. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun. So, big hint.
Oh yeah, right there it is.
There's your team of horses that is driven by a driver. So it's kind of like right there in your face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whoops. Wrong button. There we go. Yeah, man. Yeah, there's a lot of shit. And what a license actually is that they'll take away your fundamental right to do something and then sell it back to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the thing about the license is you beg for it.
Yes.
You fill out an application, and it don't matter where you fill out an application. Anytime you fill out an application, you're begging. You're begging for a service. You're begging for a loan. You're begging for a house. You're begging for a job. An application is a form of begging. A lot of people don't understand that.
Are you familiar with my son's channel?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Ryan?
Yeah. I was going to say, I think he's going live tonight at 10.
Yeah, I've been thinking about getting on his show a couple times. He invited me on. I'm a moderator on his channel.
Okay. Yeah, he's got it. He's growing up pretty good. He's growing up pretty good. Let me see if he's actually done the
I didn't notice him go on since the Jesuit show.
yeah, he was let's see, 2 weeks ago. The Temple of Saturn he did. I don't see anything set up yet. And that's odd because if he's going at 10, he did put a community post up a day ago. I apologize once again for having to reschedule until tomorrow night. There will be a show tomorrow night for sure at 10 p.m. So he's supposed to be going on tonight at 10 p.m. If you're not subscribed, those of you, this is his channel, and you can go over there and check that out. Oh, I got a bunch of people. Let me see. I didn't even look over here. I'm sorry. At the Rumble side, I got no stop in sight. Ryan 1778 says celebrating the biggest gold heist in history. Yeah. Let's see. No, who else I got over there? Chronicle Enlightenment. They're having a whole little conversation going on over there. That's pretty cool. We got 72 watching on YouTube and 10 watching over on Rumble. So we got a good situation going on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, when you were talking about earlier before I got on, you were talking about people need to just say no to the draft and just refuse to go.
Yeah.
That's what people need to do with the courts. They need to say no. Enough's enough. I'm not a person. I'm a people.
Right.
I'm not a corporate fiction. A person is a corporate fiction.
Yep.
We're people. And if everybody were to just say, not even just say no, but even just go to court, plead not guilty, and take it to the jury box, the courts would be so flooded with cases, they would not be able to schedule their cases.
Yep.
I've been into court 100 times here in Benton County, and every time I'm always in the morning docket. There's a morning docket and an afternoon docket every Wednesday. There's usually about 50 people in there. Mm-hmm. Every one of them people go in there on the majority. The most of them go in there and plead guilty. Mm-hmm. By the time you get your court costs and all your bullshit and all your fines and everything, you're over $1,000 into that temple bank, that bank temple, whatever you want to call it. It's a temple of Justitia. You know that?
Right.
It's a bank. Money goes in and it don't come out.
No.
So anyway, you got 50 people in there in the morning docket, and then there's 50 more people in the afternoon docket. 50 people just donated $50,000 in the morning and $50,000 in the afternoon. That's $100,000 in one day.
It's a lot of money, man.
Yes, it is. People need to learn to stand up to. I stand up to them. I don't plead guilty to anything.
Nope.
You want to throw me in jail? We're going to fight this tooth and nail.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've often said, what if everybody just said no? What if we just had a big collective fuck you? It would be the most peaceful revolution in history. Okay. We don't have to draw up arms in defense only. But look, here's what's going on, guys. We figured it out. We're not listening to you anymore. Okay.
Right.
Doesn't mean we're going to go crazy. We're still observing natural law. Okay. We'll still go by natural law. There's a crime if you create a victim. That's all.
Corpus delicti. Right?
So,
corpus delicti.
Right, corpus delicti. So there's where that's where it starts and ends. Now, it doesn't mean you have to leave Washington, D.C. It doesn't mean you have to stop marching around your little marble palace and giving speeches. You can do that all you want. You can make all your little parchments that you want. The only thing different now is we're not listening and we're not paying you.
That's
Okay,
right.
so do whatever it is you wish to do. We're not listening and we're not paying you.
And you can't lock us all up.
No, you can't. Do
It's
you
just like,
realize how would that work out?
Dave, I go onto YouTube, clear back to like 2012, somewhere around there, and I do have a video about the peaceful revolution, and that was just saying no to government. You have your children, and they say no, they hear no more times by the time they're 3 years old than they hear the rest of their life.
Yeah.
But they can't say no to the government. People will not say no to government.
Well, that's because part of that training is, like you were mentioning, they hear the word no often. They're not allowed to say that back. You can't say no to your parents. And what they've actually done is they've turned the government into surrogate parents by intellectually stunting the maturity level intellectually of every individual that has to go through their little indoctrination system. Okay.
Absolutely.
They leave home and now they have the surrogate mommy and daddy that's there to take care of them. They don't realize that the only purpose that government is there for is to protect your rights. That's all. That's all it was there for. Okay.
Yeah, the Constitution of the United States is not our law. It is the governing document
Right.
that dictates the limitations of government.
Yep.
And these people go out and get felonies. I was just watching one the other day. This felon walked into the sheriff's office packing a piece. They arrested him. It's in Michigan, I believe. They arrested him and took him to jail. And he had his constitutional lawyer. And regardless, if you have the words of the Constitution in your favor, like it's Article 6, Section 5, whatever it is, that the Constitution is a law of the land. Any law contrary is null and void.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into
goes back to Marbury versus Madison.
Exactly. And you start putting all these together, and you got a good attorney that can do that. They threw his court case out, but now they're reviewing it in the Supreme Court over there. But I think people are getting sick of it. You can't take. They made it a firearm. That's what they did. They just added a word to it and said that's what it is. But it's not a firearm. It's an arm.
Right. That's right. Pistol. Firearm's a commercial term.
Is exactly.
They try every trick in the book to reel you into their commercial court.
Yep.
You see, and this is why if you want to be aware of that from the get-go. Signatures with all rights reserved or all rights reserved per UCC 1-308.
Yep. Without prejudice.
Yeah, without prejudice. Yeah. But if you actually quote UCC 1-308, that pretty much sums it right there. That my signature does not indicating that I am in agreement with your commercial contract. I am going under the law of the land.
I know exactly what you're saying. You have to have it under stress and duress, or stress or duress. So you put UD under duress. UCC 1-308 without prejudice. And you put that in parentheses underneath your driver license when you sign your driver license.
No.
And that eliminates your subjection to their authority.
Yep.
But you got to know how to work it. And that's what nobody knows anymore. They just know what they're taught in school. They don't teach law in school.
Well, no, they don't want to teach you anything that's going to lead to you not being a slave.
Exactly.
Okay, they're not going to teach you any of that because that's what it is. It's slave training school. They got 12 years to teach you nothing. A whole lot about nothing. I mean, I've got idiots right now that are telling me, well, I have a PhD in physics. Okay, so how is the air being held to the earth? Gravity. Tell me how a mass of air with no contiguous continuity molecularly can have be affected by gravity. It can't.
Exactly.
It can't ever.
Exactly.
Okay. It's never going to form into gases will never coalesce into a body.
They dissipate out.
Absolutely. And it's all due to the fact that they have elastic collisions. Now, people learn this in physics, but then they'll turn around and still think that gravity holds air, or that the sun is a big ball of burning hydrogen undergoing nuclear fusion. Hey, wait a second. No logic. Look, you had to start somewhere. That means that two molecules of gas had to collide and not bounce. And then another one collide and not bounce. Then another one collide and not bounce. Where would this ever fucking happen? And I have these people with supposed PhDs in physics arguing that, oh, because it behaves differently. Why? Why does it behave differently in space? When they supposedly got that leak in the ISS, did all the air that was coming out that leak, did it fall back to the Earth? Did it form into a ball of air and they just go outside and scoop it up in a bucket and put it back in the shit? Come on.
Yeah. Speaking of that one, that was an album cover from the 70s or something, wasn't it? 80s?
Oh, that's their black hole.
No, the
bullet hole thing. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember what the album cover was, but that was the same exact.
Yeah. They also got that same one that they used for their picture of their black hole.
Yeah.
It was from some album cover or a movie or some shit like that. I'm like, oh, come on. And these people gobble up this fakey shit so much, the cliche things that we just put up with over and over and over again. That's what cracks me up. My wife and I will be watching some movie and these guys they're in a war or something, right? And some guy will say, you'd be looking at a picture of his girlfriend, and my wife and I just look at each other. We're like, that guy's going to get capped. That guy right there is going to get capped. Every time somebody shows a picture of their sweetheart back home, they get killed and they're found dead with the crumpled up picture in their bloody hand. I mean, it's so fucking cliche every time. Yeah. So that's our joke. If you're ever going to war, don't ever show a picture of your sweetheart back home. Just don't. You'll die. If you're ever beamed down on a Martian planet or an alien planet, don't have on a red shirt. You're going to die. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
How's Something Wong doing tonight? He's doing good back there. He's smiling. He's smiling. He's happy. He's always happy. You see him back here. He's a good guy. Good
I haven't heard him slurping tonight.
So Brenda said that Something Wong's name was racist. And I'm like, that's the name his parents gave him. What the hell are you talking about? He's really a fruitcake. But that's something I've noticed. Have you noticed the Globetards are like in complete ridiculousness panic mode as of late?
Oh yeah. I quit watching any of them, from Fight the Flat Earth, Craig, Wolfie, Bob, the science guy, Dave, McGoon, all of them guys. I've destroyed them enough. They've offered to debate me more than one time. And I tell them, I say, I'm not going to debate you, but I will analyze the proof you have that Earth is a spinning ball, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Because they're
dishonest. They've all been shown to be dishonest. We're not entertaining them anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really wild. It just seems like everybody's kind of like made that same decision. Nah, you've been weighed, measured, and found lacking. We're done with you. You're losing. You're losing. Yeah. We're at a tipping point, and you're losing. There's nothing you can do to stop it. Do you realize that Flat Earth has grown 770% since 2015?
I do. I've been flat Earth since 2015. I heard about it first in 2014. My anti-government, they kept putting it in my feed, and I thought it was so ridiculous I wouldn't even look at it.
Same here, yeah.
Pushing it aside, looking at something else, another Kennedy or 9/11 or something like that, and it just pretty soon it got to where that's all that was on any of my feed was flat Earth, and I thought to myself, well, I'm going to prove Earth is a ball and get rid of this fucking nonsense. You know what I mean? And I was prejudiced and biased and opinionated towards the ball.
Yeah.
And I went out and I started gathering information and data and checking out the experiments to prove Earth's a ball. And I compile it together, and I'm leaning towards the ball. I'm prejudiced towards the ball. I'm biased towards the ball. I'm trying to make the ball work. I'm forcing the ball into play. And it got to the point where I couldn't make it happen. So I stood back and let the evidences and the data and the information and the experimentation speak for itself. I removed all prejudice and all biasness and let it speak for itself and procure the reality of where we're at. And that's how I became a flat earther. And it's not even a flat earth. And I've been saying that forever. In fact, I 5 years ago, I mentioned the fact that the spinning ball earth is perspective reverse engineered. And now other people are coming to that conclusion too.
The best
I've been in this
best
Go ahead.
description, the best description, and this is the best way to put it, and you have to do this because of how pedantic and picayune that these globetards try to be. So I usually just tell them, I say the earth is a level, stationary topographical plane contained within a dynamic fluid pressure system.
Absolutely.
And that pretty much sums it all up, because they say, well, it's not flat. There's rivers and mountains and valleys. And okay. All right.
You got me.
Level topographical plane.
Exactly. That's what I came to too. It's a motionless topographical plane. I don't get into the contained within a fluid dynamic system.
Oh, I do, because that's the linchpin. That there is the Achilles heel. That is their Achilles heel right there. Because no one can demonstrate a downward acceleration of gases due to gravity.
Absolutely.
No one. The only thing they say is gradient. And you're like, yeah, there's a temperature gradient too. And as you know, temperature affects pressure. Also affecting pressure is the amount of different elements within the mixture, which changes as you rise in elevation. So you've got that going for you too. That there's Dalton's law. So that doesn't cut water. They don't realize that the natural antecedent to gradient is pressure, and the natural antecedent of pressure is containment. Gas has no specific volume or shape outside of containment.
Nothing does.
Okay, so we have a heliocentric model. Heliocentric, what's that mean? It goes around the sun. What is the sun? The sun is a hydrogen fusion reactor. 93 million. Hold up. Wait.
In the vacuum of space.
How did you get a hydrogen fusion reactor? How did that happen? How did hydrogen collect together in order to form a mass big enough to cave in on itself and cause nuclear fusion? Show me a ball of gas forming under any condition for any reason outside of containment. I don't care. Use a vacuum. Do it right here.
Yeah. Don't
Never want to do it. And the postulation that it has mass as though it's some kind of contiguous substance, which it's not, because gas molecules aren't bonded. Gas molecules bounce, and then they go the other way. And if there's nothing to bounce off of, they keep fucking going and spreading apart and leaving. They have no reason to change direction whatsoever. It's not like they're hooked together. The only way you can even have a weight of gas is by having a contained volume of it. And then it has to be in disequilibrium with whatever is the surrounding medium. For instance, if I took a cylinder and I put air in that cylinder and it made it the same pressure as it is outside the cylinder, okay, 14.7 inside, 14.7 outside, I tear the fucking cylinder weight, guess what I'm going to get? 0.
Yeah, it's going to equilibrium will take over.
There it is. It's 0, but I still have a contained volume of gas. Why isn't it registering any weight?
Right.
So there again, you can never. That's why I stay with that one. That one right there. That's what I kill them with every time, because it has to do with not only the atmos, which they call a sphere, and of course, as I've stated, gas has no specific volume or shape without containment. So I just call it the atmos. Doesn't have a shape. And the only way to have that contained volume, containment. And with containment comes pressure, because as the natural behavior of gas, that gas being contained is now in a state of disequilibrium.
Right.
So I don't know, man. But these are actual real physics people. And then what they say, and this is one of the biggest ones too, they say, I'll say, give me a demonstration of gas without pressure, without containment.
Container.
Jupiter. Whoa, what do you, yeah, that's a wandering star, Jupiter. What about Jupiter? It's a gas planet. Yeah, okay. Now we're back in the same thing. You've made an observation with an erroneous assumption. Again, right back in the same hole. That isn't proof of anything. You just looked at something and said that's what it is.
Yeah, and 90% out of the time, they didn't even do the observation. They're just repeating and regurgitating what they heard in the first place.
Yep.
There's absolutely no observation made.
Yep.
There's no common sense and logic applied.
No, never once. And it's because of this training, this brainwashing that's taken place amongst all of mankind. And what it is this perception deception. In other words, accepting information based on your perception of the presenter.
Absolutely.
Even if you don't know, you can be given the perception of the presenter. So I could grab some guy out of an alley, put him in a suit, sit him in front of some books with a globe in the corner, and have him read a script, put on the chyron that this guy's a leading expert on some bullshit. And people will actually listen to what he says. Because I told you that he's a leading expert.
Yeah.
You've never heard of him or seen him or anything else like that. You're not even going to check.
Nope. You're just going to listen to what he says.
Exactly.
Because you were instructed to believe that he was a leading expert.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
so when they took a guy that was just no more than really a sack of meat and wheeled him around with a speaking spell and had him say shit, they had people convinced that that guy was a genius.
Yeah, no. What the fuck was that wheelchair dude, Hawkins?
Stephen Hawking, yeah.
Yeah, Stephen Hawkins. He was a genius. How do you know he was a genius? He wasn't talking. They were talking for him through that voice box.
How come nobody else has this thing?
Yeah.
You know, all the people that are in that condition, he's the only one that gets to have this little speaking spell deal, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the shit people will believe. Einstein, incredibly intelligent man. I'll tell you, boy, he was a genius. Listen, everything you ever heard him say, any film clip you ever see of him speaking, he's not speaking, he's reading. Now, he was let me see, I think did I send that to the wife or not? But he was given these general questions. They were passed along to him. I forget what year, 19. Let me see. Maybe I've got it on my Facebook. Let me look. Pretty sure I reposted. Here it is. It says, let me, it won't get no bigger. It said in the year 1921, while Einstein was in Boston staying at the Hotel Copley Plaza, he was given a copy of Edison's questionnaire to see whether he could answer the questions. Because Edison was not, who didn't believe this guy was he thought he was a shill too.
Yeah, yeah.
As soon as he read the question, what is the speed of sound? He said, I don't know. I don't burden my memory with such facts that I can easily find in any textbook.
Exactly.
That's your genius.
How can you not know it? Yep, yep.
And that's,
I like that. That when he was being interviewed and they asked him what it's like to be the smartest man in the world, he said, "You'll have to ask Tesla."
Yeah, he was that right there. That was Einstein was a psyop, 100%.
Absolutely.
I mean, when it became so apparent that the idea stupid, okay, even Newton thought it was stupid.
Oh yeah,
he did. He thought it was stupid. He didn't want to be ascribed to it. He said, "No, I'm not going to publish that. That's ridiculous. Motion without a force."
Yeah.
How the fuck do you have that? You know? And so it wasn't until after his death that they even published this shit, right?
Right.
But
right.
the reality of it is no one has even ever witnessed masses attracting one another. And they always want to jump to Cavendish. Dude, Cavendish was trying to calculate the relative mean density of the Earth. He wasn't trying to prove mass attracting mass. God knows what the hell that crackpot was actually doing, right? But the problem with that is this. You don't develop an experiment until you've had the observation. Okay, so we have an observation of something, then you come up with a hypothesis, then you do experimentation to prove the hypothesis. Real simple. They skipped 1 and 2 and went right to the fucking experiment.
Yeah.
Let's test for something that nobody's ever witnessed before. Okay. So as you can see, it was never really an experiment. And this is what cracks me up. I'm like, you mean to tell me that here in the year 2024, the best you can do is like some observation made by some crackpot in the 18th century? Are you shitting me?
Right, right. You know, I've stood next to skyscrapers and I don't feel myself falling into them.
No, nobody ever does, man. It's the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard. But they take it for the gospel because of their perception of who presented it to them. And of course, the person presenting it to them was presented it to them the same way.
Exactly.
You see?
Yeah.
They believe the same nonsense. They had to believe the same nonsense or they wouldn't have graduated, and then they wouldn't be the teacher to tell you the nonsense.
Right. And that's the thing about these teachers. They are taught the nonsense and they wholeheartedly believe it so willfully in their mind that it's true. They're teaching you wholeheartedly that it's true.
Yes.
You question them and they have no answers. They tell you to read the books. The answer's in the books.
Yep.
They don't tell you to go out there and do some experiments and come to your own conclusion. You know, they tell you to read the books.
Wait, hold on, wait a second. Ein means one and Stein means cup. 1 cup in German. And he was Judy telling me that wasn't his real name. Well, actually, it's stone too. You have stone. Berg is like a mountain. So when you have the last suffix on those names, Berg, that's a mountain. Steen is stone. For instance, Rothstein, right, changed his name to Redstone. Same guy that runs one of the networks. His last name was Rothstein, and they changed it to Redstone. They just anglified it, is all. But who knows? Einstein, yeah, definitely, he was a small hat. I seem to find those under every rock that you look under. There seems to be a small hat under there somewhere. I don't.
Yeah, you got. Oh,
what?
yeah. It just dawned upon me. You got any pictures of your ISS there being constructed here on Earth?
We had those, but we unfortunately destroyed them, and it's a painful process to build them back.
Gotcha. I brought that up so many times way back at the beginning of the Flat Earth and International Fake Station. They got the world's most prestigious build, the International Fake Station, and they just send it 250 miles above the Earth and put it together without a proof build on Earth to make sure that thing fits together.
Well, they were a little bit paying attention to that, to keep the people believing in it, because as I understand it, they had the US made one section and the Russians made another section, and lo and behold, they got them up there and found out that they wouldn't couple together because of some measurement differences in Russia and the United States, different countries and all. Yeah. And so the European Space Agency had to make an adapter module. So like having different plugs when you go to fucking Europe or something. It's like, aren't you guys using blueprints and shit?
Right.
Come on. But they made it like that so that everyone was included, and kumbaya, we came together and made the International Space Station. So, over here is the Aquanet tank that the women astronauts use for weightlessness. It's like Aquanet, the official hairspray of NASA.
Yeah, right.
Be like some of them broads back in the 80s, boy. They look like some of these weightless chicks. You remember the big hair of the 80s?
Oh, yeah, the big hair.
Yeah, man. They was trying to be up in space, babe.
I'm right up there, too. I'm a 60s baby.
Yeah, we're the last, I think one of the last, the Gen X is probably the last fucking hardcore generation,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I mean, we grew up on fucking Budweiser and Marlboros, for crying out loud,
Yeah. Every day. It's another day in the woods.
Yeah, man. You was out there during summer vacation. It was like fucking Lord of the Flies out in the woods, man. That's all there was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think there's about 300 people lived within 20 miles of me.
You remember how there'd be one group of kids to go build a fort someplace in the woods, and another group of kids build a fort in the other part of the woods, and the one kid would come over and wreck the other kid's fort, and they'd get pissed off and go over sometime and wreck their fort and shit. I mean, it was just like this little war going on.
Oh, yeah. It was good times. Good times. Good memories.
Nobody does that no more. I can remember going out in the woods with my friends and having a little campfire out there. You didn't have no permit or nothing.
Yeah.
Just went out there, and if the cops did come, they'd make you put it out and go home or something. Well, shit, we'd be sitting out there. We'd get somebody to buy us some 40 ounces. We'd sitting around the beer with the fire and just having a good old time and shit. And then, nobody was getting hurt. Nobody was having a bad time. I mean, now nobody what are they doing is sitting around playing fucking video games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hanging out on their dumb phone. People call it a smartphone, but it's a dumb phone.
They can't get away from them. They can't get away from them, man.
I remember the phone number I had when I was 5 years old.
Same here.
I can't remember my cell phone number without thinking about it, though.
I remember my best friends' numbers too. All my friends. I remember their phone numbers still. And if you had to call and it was busy, there was no, maybe somebody later on, people started getting answering machines, but only rich people had answering machines and push button phones. We had the dial. Remember when the radio would say, fifth caller gets tickets to see AC/DC, and you're forcing the damn dial back so you could hurry up and get it back there, trying to get to be the fifth caller and shit. It was always some asshole with a push button that won, Yeah.
Or how about the party line? Did you ever have the party line?
No, I never had the party line, but I'd heard about them. I'd heard
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
The whole neighborhood is running off the same telephone line, and you had to use the phone in at certain times, or when someone else wasn't on the phone, you'd pick the phone up and be listening to someone else's conversation.
Yeah.
It's dropping.
Well, and you would ring it. It would ring a certain number of times depending on who it was for. Everybody's phone would ring, but like 3 rings was for Mrs. Jones, and
not on our
2
party
rings
line.
would be for this person.
Our party lines would go directly to your house to ring, but nobody else would know that your house rang or that you were on the phone until they picked up the phone and tried to talk, and they'd hear someone else talking on the phone already, and they'd, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Pretend to hang up, pick it up real quietly and listen.
Well, I can remember now. I grew up in Michigan, and I might have some Michiganians old enough to remember this in my chat, but there was a commercial for a home improvement. And I can remember the song for when they said the phone number said Tyler 87100 for a Tyler 8. How do you dial Tyler 8 on a phone? And why do we say dial the phone when there hasn't been a dial on a phone for probably 40 years? We still say we dialed a phone number, but we didn't dial it. We punched it in.
Right. Push their name.
Yeah. Or you'll see somebody in an old movie pick up the phone and say, operator, get me Klondike 971. What? Klondike 971? What the fuck is that? Now it started getting so exponential that, like, when I was a kid where I lived, Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb counties, the tri-county area around Detroit was all area code 313. And then in the early 80s, they gave Oakland County a whole new area code, and it came 810. And anybody that's ever watched the old movie 8 Mile, they all the time talking about, you from the 313 or the 810?
Using their area codes, yeah.
Okay, so that was the dividing line. 8 Mile Road was the border line between Wayne and Oakland County. So, yeah. Because if you go down Woodward Avenue toward Detroit, you'll cross, 15-mile road, 14-mile road, like that. Every mile, there's another road that crosses over it. And then when you get to 8 Mile, on the other side of that is Wayne County. You're now in Detroit.
You got new area code.
Yeah, but I mean, that's crazy. So now we've gone from Tyler 8, 7100 to, 10-digit telephone numbers.
Yeah.
Now a thing of the past is phone books.
Oh, yeah. What is a phone book?
Yeah, what's a phone book? Nobody's got phone books anymore. I mean, we get yellow pages in the mail, but those are only like businesses that have landlines.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't even remember them handing out the yellow pages for the last 5 or 6 years out here.
Yeah. Well, shit, where I live, it's so rural, so sparsely populated. Our yellow page is only about that thick.
Yeah.
It's just little, and it's smaller than most catalogs. Of course, there's another thing too. You don't get a Sears catalog in the mail anymore. Remember when you get the big, thick fucking Sears catalog, had everything in it?
Yeah. All them.
And that was limited when we were kids, because when my dad was a kid, you could order a house from Sears. In fact, right down the road here, there's a bed and breakfast that is a Sears house. It was ordered from Sears. Everything was delivered here by train, and they sent a crew to put it together.
Sears Roebuck.
Yeah, Sears and Roebuck. You could get mules from Sears. You could get anything. I think at one time they actually sold wives too.
Mail order wives.
Yeah.
How times have changed.
Now they call that human trafficking. So.
Right.
But yeah, that's there's a lot of shit now that we don't have these days. You think about some of the stuff we had when you were younger growing up. What was I watching a movie that was only from the early 90s a little while ago, and these people had pagers, You remember pagers?
Yeah.
I'd
That's
almost forgot about the pagers.
Yeah. It vibrate on your hip and
Yeah.
call. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Now we have these little chimeras that it's everything and a phone.
Yeah.
People call this a phone, but they use it for they use it for everything else more than they use it for an actual telephone.
Oh yeah.
You know,
They're ridiculous. I hate them.
and they've gotten people to the point where people feel like it's a part of them.
Yeah, if it ain't in their hand.
Yeah, they lose their mind if they can't find it. And here's an interesting thing to do. And use your own discretion depending on who you're with, because you will get the same reaction. But if you're sitting there talking with somebody, like either a coffee shop or a restaurant or even in your house, and they set their phone down, right? Just reach over and act as though you're going to pick up their phone and watch their reaction. They'll act like you
fast.
They act like you tried to grab their nuts.
Yeah.
What are you doing? That's my phone. What are you doing? Oh. They get this panicky thing going on inside,
I have 2-year-old grandsons. They have 3-year-old grandson, 5-year-old, and 7-year-old. Every one of my grandchildren have fucking phones.
Oh, that's terrible, man.
Oh, it is. It is. And when you go to the dinner table, they're not eating their dinner. They're playing on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, put that thing down and make them eat their dinner. Sit at the table as a family. That's a half hour. You can just take that phone and put it aside.
Well, they keep warning us about this solar storm could knock out all the internet and all this other shit. And how I think that would be one of the best fucking things ever. I think that would be the kick in the ass that people need to pull their heads out of their ass.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, when you got people, and there was a large amount of the population lost their shit because Facebook went down for an hour. They got angry over a video game not being on.
Yeah. God, it's like most people these days, they need fucking GPS to get across the street to get to the supermarket. It's ridiculous.
Oh shit, we thought we were shitting in high cotton when we'd print out 5 pages from MapQuest and navigate like fucking pirates,
Them were the days.
Yeah, right. But the best ones was when you had the old Rand McNally.
Yeah.
And you had to learn how to find it. My dad handed me the map in the back seat and say, "Hey, Dave, find such and such a town on here." You do that with a kid today, he won't know what to do. I mean, he taught me right off the bat. Oh, well, here's all you have to do is you look back here in this index. It'll tell you here's alphabetical listing of all the towns on this map, right? And see these grid coordinates where it'll say like, you just go, oh, there it is right there. He says, okay, we're right down here. We're south of that at such and such a road. Find that. Let's see how long it's going to be till we get there. And I'd look and find it. And then what I'd like to do is I'd sit there with the map. And I'd watch out the window and stuff. And as we were rolling down the road and shit, I'd be paying attention to shit on the map saying, yeah, okay, you're going to be coming up on the road. Yeah. I was like a human GPS working in the back seat,
Yeah. Isn't it funny they changed the ground positioning system to global positioning satellites?
It's par for the course. It's par for the course. They do like they changed, like they had to slip gravity into the buoyancy formula, right? Yeah. When it's like it's just an effect. You can say acceleration. You don't need little g. You can just say a. And there again, that's what cracks me up too. They always want to use these variables as constants, like speed of light. The speed of light is an average. Yep. Okay, 9.8 meters per second is an average, and that's in a vacuum. Listen,
you get your air and your particles and moisture in the air and all the variables, and it changes.
Right. Well, this is the reality of it. Okay. Never, ever, ever is anything not subject to a medium.
Oh, I know.
There is
I
no
know.
such condition. There is no such condition where an object is not subject to a medium.
Right, right. I get a kick out of. You're looking at, say, Polaris. They say it's 433 light years away. They're trying to tell me that I'm looking at a light that may have burned out 200 years ago, but it
Right.
ain't getting to me yet.
Right. I know, it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
As if those distances actually exist.
Yeah, they make distances that are so fabulous your mind can't even comprehend them. Numbers so great your mind can't comprehend them.
Oh, and purposely so. You know, Newton had to recalculate. Let me see if I've got the graphic of this. This is really funny. There we go. This right here. Okay, so the exact science. Okay, so Copernicus started out at 3 million miles, right?
The sun from the earth.
Yeah. And then Tycho Brahe come up with 13. And Kepler, since Kepler killed Tycho, he just took his work, so he agreed with 13. Newton did it twice. He came out with 28, and then he damn near doubled it at 54. He had a second attempt at it at 54. And you know what he said about that? He said, whether it be 28 million miles or 54 million miles, it does not matter. It suits our purpose.
There you have it.
But I mean, there it is, exact science. We went from 93 million miles all the way up to 104 and then back to 93. Now, can you imagine if you had a bank that was that bad at calculating shit?
I want that bank.
Well, I don't know. It's not necessarily going to go in your favor.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. You might only have 50 cents in the bank and they're telling you that you're a millionaire. That's not going to work real good.
Right.
So, yeah. Oh, I see our friend Quasar has made it back over here in the chat.
Quasar.
Yeah. They got their certain quota of coming in and saying some shit every so often.
Yeah. I follow you whenever you're on, pretty much.
I'll take 2
I see you.
please. I've already sent you $8 dark dollars. Yeah, dark dollars. That's dark money.
Dark matter.
Yeah, might as well have dark money. I got $8 million in my account. It only shows 300, but that's because there's dark money in there. You see,
right.
And you can't. You know it's there because you can't prove that it's not. Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah, take that, bank. Yeah. No shit. Listen, some of these things, and light year, light traveling, there again, in what medium? And don't tell me a vacuum, because no such condition exists. Even in a quote unquote vacuum chamber, the best you can do is very low pressure. You can never, ever, ever have a vacuum. The best you can do is very low pressure, and not even close to what they claim is at the quote unquote Kármán line.
Yeah.
Okay. Not even close can we replicate that. And I call bullshit on what they're claiming the pressure is up there anyways. You know, I mean, really, in all reality, if you're going to be measuring pressure of a gas, are you really accurate? I mean, how good does a barometer work in a room full of helium? Does it register as though what? I mean, I'm not really clear on how they would actually be able to get that. They say they have sounding rockets, but I call bullshit on that too. I think that the highest reading you can get is probably from a high altitude balloon. And once that balloon reaches equilibrium, that's all you're going to get.
Yeah.
The rest would have to be, the rest of it, I believe, is just mathematically extrapolated based on a pattern. And so they can say, see, it just goes to zero. I don't think that's true. It's because it's impossible, actually. So,
yeah.
once people get out of that shit, if we can break them free of their deception, so that they'll learn to use more of their own discernment. I mean, how many people go to church and hear erroneous shit from their pastor that completely contradicts what their Bible says, and they never notice because they're not checking. They're just taking it because that guy's a pastor. He's a man of God. Whatever he says, he knows, right?
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
yet we've got them all over the place saying shit that's not true.
Yeah, that's my thought on the religion. You know, my religion is in my heart and in my head with the great Creator.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need somebody at a pulpit up there reading a book to tell me how to honor the great Creator.
Right. Would you allow your brother or your sister to lecture you on how you're supposed to love your mother?
Oh, absolutely not. I don't need to be told how to.
No,
it's a natural,
right. That's your
desire. It's not an instinct, it's a desire.
And it's each person's relationship, each sibling's relationship with their mother or their father is not identical. You can't copy the relationship of your sibling with your parent. You have your own relationship with your parent. And this is how your relationship with God is. If you try to adopt someone else's relationship with God, well, you don't have a relationship with God.
Right, exactly. You don't. You're trying to adopt his, like you said.
Right. It's somebody else's. It's not genuine. It's not true. You know, this is why people say, oh, God would be very angry at you for some of the jokes you make. I say, no, God made me funny because he wants me to make people laugh.
Absolutely.
Okay. People, I think that God gave me this sense of humor because he likes people laughing. He likes people to be in joy and mirthful. And why wouldn't he?
Here's again. My mom, she lied about Santa Claus being an existent fat man that came down the chimney every December 25th. She lied to me about it. I figured it out myself at about 9. And I was distraught. I was mad at her. And I still kind of carry that grudge to this day that she was lying to me for the first 9 years of my life. Let me go clear to 9, thinking that there's some fat man in a suit.
Yeah.
So I decided I was not going to lie to my kids about Santa Claus. And at Christmas time, I still bought my kids gifts and stuff, but I put them under the tree all the way from November. They just kept getting more and more under there. Mm-hmm. And I instructed my kids that there was no Santa Claus, that it's me and it's your mom. It's the love that we are giving you. And I instructed my kids there was no Santa Claus. My son was a little bit of a troublemaker. And I get a call from the principal that I have to go into the principal's office because he has to have a discussion with me. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, what'd you do, Trevor? And I got into the principal's office, and that guy told me that I need to quit telling my kids that there ain't no such thing as Santa Claus because I'm ruining it for the rest of the kids that are in the school.
Now they're doing that to you with flat earth.
Exactly. I laughed at that motherfucker and I said, you may want to lie to your kids, boy, but I'm not. I'm straight up fucking honest in everything I do.
That's what gets you too. No, I remember that. I can remember it so well because they're telling me about this thing of Santa Claus, and they took me to see Santa Claus at the mall. And I was like, well, you know, it wasn't hard for me to figure out that where I was at the Pontiac Mall was not all the kids in the world, and surely this guy would have to get started a lot sooner than this to be able to talk to all these kids. So I get to go sit up on the lap of this dude, and I'm looking up at him, and I can clearly see that beard is made from some material that's not a beard. It's some kind of hair, some kind of silky fur or some shit, right?
On a plastic wrap.
I'm looking at this thing, and I'm going, okay, something's going on. So I was like, later on doing some other Christmas shopping, we were somewhere else, and same day, and saw Santa Claus at Kmart. And I was like, how did he get over to Kmart? He looks completely different. And so my mom tried to cover that up and says, well, those are Santa's helpers that go around because he can't do all that himself. So he has his helpers go and do it. I said, okay, all right. So then going by this whole thing of coming down the chimney and everything else like that. And I'm really thinking this over. I can remember thinking this, and I'm like, wait a second, man, it takes 3 hours to fly to Grandma's house down in Florida from Michigan. And this guy's going around the world, landing on roofs, going down chimneys, and putting out toys in the span of 24. I mean, I'm really working this out logistically in my head. And I looked up at a chimney and found that it wouldn't even accommodate me, much less a big fat dude on the roof. So my folks, bless their hearts, they tried to go a little step further. So they got the phone rang. They had this set up. The phone rang and said, oh, my God, Santa? Oh, yeah, he doesn't believe in you. Yeah, you want to talk to him? And so they said, David, it's Santa. He wants to talk to you. I picked up the phone, and I hear somebody go, David, this is Santa. And I said, you sure sound like Uncle Boojai.
He's all over it.
Oh my God. And then of course it was, okay, it's not real. I was starting to want, why is Santa, does everybody put out cookies and scotch for Santa? That fucker's got to be wasted by the time he gets to the fifth house. This can't be right. Because boy, Santa sure drinks a lot of scotch. But their whole thing was, but don't tell your brother, don't ruin it for the other kids. And I'm like, fuck that. Fuck that. As I was onto this flat earth, I'm telling every motherfucker this. And when I found out the moon landing was fake first, when I figured out the moon landing was fake, man, I was telling everybody, I ain't gonna keep that shit secret. Don't tell me a huge lie like that that's been snowing everybody in the world, conning them and shit, and then expect me to be quiet. That's not happening.
Yeah. Fuck, I went to jail twice for preaching the flat earth back when it first came out in 2015. Two times. I'm talking to people in line, and they're starting to think I'm fucking some kind of nut because I'm telling them it's after I finally let all the information procure the reality of where we're at. And man, when I broke loose, I was telling everybody. Everyone thought I was kind of fucking lunatic. They're calling the cops on me and have me arrested. Cops are telling me I need to get off the dope. I'm on LSD. They couldn't get me for preaching the flat earth, but they were getting me on disorderly conduct.
Oh my God.
I'm going into court, and I'm laughing at the judge, and I'm just fighting it tooth and nail, and they end up fucking finding me guilty anyway, But I laugh at him at the end when they find me guilty, and he said, what you laughing at? I said, good luck collecting that $1,000. I ain't paying it. I didn't do anything wrong. You lose your he tell me, he says, well, you're going to lose your driver's license. I say, I'm going to lose something I ain't had in 10 years.
You're right.
Good luck with that.
I'm not worried about it.
No, I'm not.
I don't think Ryan's going live. I'm going to have to give him a call and find out what's going on with him.
I also went to jail twice for the no mask thing too. Disorderly conduct, same thing. Yep. Oh,
I never really made a fuss about it. I just didn't do it.
Oh, neither did I.
It's like when I went to the store and they had a little checkpoint set up there with somebody handing out masks. You know how they had those little stations.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And the girl says to me, I was walking in the store, and she says, sir, here's your mask. And I said, oh, thank you. And I took it, and I turned and dropped it in the trash can and walked on into the store. I mean, I'm not doing that. A lot of times people, why aren't you wearing a mask? I'm like, oh, I'm not in that.
I'm 55 years old and I've never worn a mask breathing God's given air yet.
No, I ain't gonna start now.
Yeah, exactly.
I recognized it for the bullshit that it was the minute it came out, and I was like, no. And especially as time went on, and I was like, it's really weird that reality is not reflecting what they're projecting on the television. I mean, I'm seeing these death numbers. The way they were talking, I was expecting to see somebody with a cart rolling through my yard going, bring out your dead.
Exactly.
Nothing of the sort. Nothing of the sort.
Then they pulled the toilet paper off the shelves.
Like Kramer and Seinfeld. Right on, JG. Like Kramer and Seinfeld. Who will not wear the ribbon? You remember the AIDS walk ribbon? He's like, I don't want a ribbon. Yeah. What? Why you do not want the ribbon? Everyone wears the ribbon. He's like, no, I don't want a ribbon. Hey, he does not want to wear the ribbon. And they all start chasing him to beat him up and shit.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with Flat Earth. Same thing with Flat Earth. You're not conforming to the rest of us. We're going to bleed at you until you fucking do, and that's what they do. And now when it's come out too, I mean, this rise 770% since 2015, they're losing their mind. And I'm watching these guys, and now it's like we've got so much of the upper hand that we're just, fuck you. We're not even talking to you anymore. Yeah. Like, I already know a lot of creators already right now that are just done with talking to McToon or Craig from Fight the Fat Ass, any of them. We're done.
Yeah.
It's senseless. You've been weighed, you've been measured, you've been found lacking. We're done with you. Now let's see where their relevancy stands.
Yeah.
Because the only way that they were gaining any popularity was on our backs. And if we don't give them the platform, they die.
Right. Because everyone in the flat earth realm was debating them and publicizing their works. And I think a good reason why you got McGoon and Craig fighting flat earth and Bob the science guy and all these fucking clown globe proponents is because they're actually real ignorant, stupid fuckers. And a lot of the people are thinking, well, if these dumb fuckers can figure out it's a spinning ball earth, it's easy for me to do too. Well,
a lot of them created flat earthers just by showing how their desperation, little evidence they have, and most importantly, their behavior. Their behavior is awful. They're all
it's off the charts.
Vile. They're all vile. And
very
something in me tells me that these guys are there because they have to be. The vibe I get a real creepy vibe from all of these guys, and I'm like wondering, well, here's a scenario. Some guy, he's reasonably intelligent, okay? He gets caught with some shit on his computer he probably shouldn't have.
Exactly.
And because he's seen as a little bit intelligent, they offer him a deal. Say, hey, I'll tell you what. We'll keep this off your record, and we won't go public with this. But what you got to do is this. Now, if you don't, then we just go public with it, and you know what happens to those kind of people in prison. So what's your choice? Now, we'll give you a platform. We'll even give you subscribers. We'll prop you up. YouTube's going to put you at the top of the algorithm. But you either do that or we're going to take action. I think it's something along those lines is going on.
Yeah. Well,
because every one of them is some kind of a every one of them is some kind of a creepy fucking freak.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
Everyone.
I mean, even that T-Jump guy with his black nail polish.
Oh, yeah.
Damn near 40 years old, still trying to sport a skater haircut.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Why are you so adolescent in your actions and in your behavior? That's what I wonder about these guys. There's a lot of signs there, and I'm just saying, But yeah, if we don't give them the platform, fuck them. They're going to die. That's all.
They will.
And if they want to say, oh, I want to debate, you've already been debated. You lost. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You know?
We're debating.
Yep. We've already figured out what it's not.
Exactly.
We're on to figuring out what shit is now.
Exactly. You don't have to have a model to know what it's not.
Oh, this bozo on Facebook, right off the bat, and this is their thing. Show me your map and model. I said, I'm not a cartographer and I'm not a model maker. So what are you talking about? He says, so you don't have a map or a model? I says, well, there's maps. Are you looking for an actual accurate map of the earth? And he said, yeah. I said, none exist. What? I said, yeah, none exist. I use the same fucking maps you do, buddy.
They're all flat.
The same maps. And you know what? I can't remember the last time that I used a world map to navigate anywhere. You know why I can't remember the last time that I did that? Because I've never have. So these are shit being presented to you by people who don't use those in the first place.
Right.
They've been told that they're not accurate and that they were developed this way or the other, but they don't really understand how maps were made. They expect you that you're going to embark on a mission of world cartography or some shit like that.
Right.
Does somebody's pictorial representation of the land masses of Earth, is that proof of the Earth's shape? No, it's not. That's proof that someone made a pictorial representation of the Earth's surface. That's what that is proof of.
A conception.
Yep. That's all that's proof of. Now, so I asked him, I says, do you have a map and model that I can, so I'll know what I'm looking for? And he says, yes. And I said, let me see him. He said, well, I asked you for a model. I said, I told you I don't have one. Let me see yours. You're going to come here demanding a model without even having one for yourself? Come on. Show me your map and your model. And I want your verification that the map is accurate. How did you verify that world map was accurate?
Yeah.
Did you physically check those distances yourself? You've never wondered why the sailboat speed record in the South is 4 knots? Why is the water like molasses down in the South or something? What's wrong? You got 28 knots in the North and 4 knots in the South. What? How is that?
Yeah.
Because your distances and speeds are calculated based on observation. Not on actuality.
You know what I noticed here the other day? They got that the final experiment, even though it's an observation. No, I'm with you, Dave. It's an observation. It's not an experiment. But you go to Helsinki, Finland, and it's at the 60th north, and they have a 24-hour sun up there.
Yeah.
You go to Santiago, Chile, they don't have a 24-hour sun, and they're at 30 north.
Yep. 30 south, yeah.
Yeah, they're way down there.
Let me see. Can I?
Santiago.
Yeah, they're damn near to the 60th. I mean, you're right. The latitude, the opposing latitude of equality has much different properties going on as far as flora and fauna, even.
Oh yeah, animal life.
Yeah. So there's a huge difference. But I'll tell you one right off the bat. You couldn't pay me enough money to go to some desolate place with grease balls like McToon.
Oh no.
Or any of those people. Not unless I can take my Kimber with me. Okay? That's the only way that I would do that, because they're very dishonest, evil people. And I think that it would be in their realm to just accidentally off somebody while they were down there.
Oh yeah.
So no,
Yeah.
I wouldn't accept it. And besides that, you know another thing too. Here, why is it so fucking expensive to go there? $34,000,
So
and
you
that's
know,
not including your airfare and hotel.
right.
30.
That's
Why does that cost so much?
to keep the everyday average Joe. I know average is a loose term, but to keep the everyday average Joe from being able to just hop the plane and go.
Oh, what is this? Is Quasar claiming to have flown over Antarctica? He's full of shit. Here's a challenge for you, Quasar. Show me one fucking photograph of Antarctica from space. Go ahead. Go ahead. See if you can find one. You'll be amazed. There are none. They're a bunch of cartoon looking shit. Everywhere you look. No topography, just white. Get out of here. So don't even try. No, look it up. Go look up whether you flew over Antarctica. Shut up, Quasar. You're a fucking lying little piece of shit, just like the rest of these globetards. You'll lie, cheat, and steal just to try to make it like you have a point. And if you have to lie, cheat, and steal to make a point, you don't have a fucking point. God, you are way out of your element, Quasar. Here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to do. Go sit in the fucking corner and think about it for a little while. There. Quasar has been timed out. I don't have any patience with these assholes anymore. I'm not going to accept them. I'm not going to tolerate them. I'm done.
Yep.
And that's how a lot of us are feeling these days. We're done.
You know how appreciative I am of you starting to ban these idiots off your channel, because all it does is it directs our attention and our thoughts onto something that don't even need to be addressed anymore. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
We have better things to do. Yeah.
Look, it's flat says Joe Rogan in the house. I'll lie to my mother. He did say that too. And there's people that will do that. They put the worldly material aspect of existence above everything, and including their own soul, their own spirit. And that's a sad state of affairs. That's someone who thinks that this is the be all and end all of their existence. That'd be like a caterpillar thinking this is it. This is it right here.
Well,
holy shit. Yeah.
I think this is just the beginning. We're here to live out our moral experience and gain the information and knowledge. This is the lower plane of existence, and we need to gather the information and the knowledge and the data to figure out how to get to the upper plane of existence.
Yep.
That's my opinion. This is a learning curve right here.
Have you noticed how these people get almost into a freak out when you tell them that the earth is a closed system? Nobody's leaving out of this. They act like they're trapped.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you know how big this place is? You're not trapped. Where the fuck would you go? And this tells me a lot. I know Legion is loose and Legion is operating through other people because that's how they do.
Right.
And we know that Legion demons are nothing more than disembodied spirits of Nephilim who have no place on earth or in heaven. And when they find out that they are completely trapped, they're not getting out, they're not getting into heaven, they freak out because they think they can get through there. Right. This is why they keep trying with their rockets. This is why they keep trying to pierce it. They can't do it.
They ain't going anywhere.
You know, it's like the prisoner that tries to dig through the walls of his concrete cells with his bare hands and ends up with nothing but bloody fingers.
Yeah, stubs.
Yeah. And I'd laugh. It's futile. It's so futile, their attempts at doing this. We'll try to blow it up. We're as good as God. Yeah, we are. No, sorry, you're not. You're never going to defeat God's creation. That's just all there is. You might defeat yourself with but that's all.
That's all you're gonna do.
Yep. But that way that they act like they're trapped, like they're, what do you mean we're trapped here? And I'm thinking to myself, where in the hell would you go? Like that, like Brenda said, I would go to Mars immediately if they offered it. And I was like, wait a second, what's the longest flight you ever took? She said 5 hours. And I said, yeah, try like 2 years.
Yeah.
Cooped up with the same fucking people, right? Going on there, you're going to go to Mars. All right. So you endure that, and then you get there. Then what?
Yeah.
You're not coming back. You're not. I mean, come on.
After 2 years,
So you get there. And what do? You step out on Mars and you jump around a little bit, and then you have a little habitat there that you have to go inside, or you can suit up and go outside and bounce around some more, and then go back inside. And once you've exhausted your DVD collection and you're sick of all the music that you've listened to, it's like, what are you going to do once you get there? That's what I wonder, and I'm thinking, if you really thought this out, I think it's more a case that you just hate your life so bad that you think you can go somewhere else. Well, maybe you can go somewhere else. Maybe we can go somewhere else, but it's right here. Think about how easy it would be to hide land in the South Pacific of the world.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just like, didn't Japan just find like 1,000 new islands out there and over by Japan?
Yeah. So I mean, if you when you realize how these maps were even made in the first place, you start to get an understanding as to how it would be very easy to go ahead and hide some land just right there in the South Pacific even. I mean, there's a big vast area of ocean that there's nothing there, huh? Nothing there. Now, once you're past the equator, south, now what are you doing? Now what are you doing for your latitudes and your longitudes? How are you figuring where you're at? You've got everything is in movement. Yeah. So you have to take observations based on time. And these are observations of objects that are quite far away from you. And they're moving.
At the same time.
How accurate. And why is it they always find that when they go by dead reckoning and they use their stellar navigation, not GPS, they always find themselves like miles and miles and miles off course, according to where they should be.
Right.
It's because it's a lie. The longitudes in the south are a lie.
Absolutely.
They took everything from the equator and just mirrored it. That's all they did. They mirrored everything past the equator.
Yep.
When that's not really how it's going.
No. It becomes more vast the further south.
Yes. And so that's why that would explain a 4-knot speed record.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. And some of the stuff they'll just say stuff like Brenda one night, I was watching her debate or him debate it. I was watching him debate Flatzoid, and he was debating somebody. It might have been Flatzoid. I think it was, and came up and said there was an actual war fought over which end of the egg to open up, if you can believe that. And I was like, you idiot. That's from Gulliver's Travels, man. That didn't really happen. Did you ever see that movie or read the book Gulliver's Travels?
Yeah.
Okay, so these people, the Lilliputians, the Lilliputians, there was 2 factions of them, and they were at war over which end of the egg to open, which of course is rather silly. And Gulliver brought them to peace by saying, why don't we just open it in the middle?
Right.
And they were like, oh, yeah. And that dipshit thought that it was real, that really happened, that there was actually 2 countries that went to war over which end of an egg to open.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, man. And these people come on camera in front of hundreds and hundreds of people at a time, eventually in front of thousands after the restreams of it,
Right.
and say this ridiculous fucking shit and just go with it.
Oh, yeah. It's better to let people think you're foolish than to open your mouth and remove all doubt.
Oh my God. Like, who was that talking about? Tangent points or perpendicular to an arc. Sean Hawkins.
Yep.
Talking about vertical was perpendicular to an arc. I said, there's no perpendicular deals with lines, not arcs. Arcs are not lines. Stop. All you're doing with an arc is bisecting it. You have parallel lines and concentric arcs. God. And then they come on and act like they're fucking whiz bang with this shit or something, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was watching that Hawkins one. You played that just the other day.
Yeah.
He's a clown.
Yeah. The poor guy, I mentioned
he shaved his nose.
I mentioned something to my wife today. I said, I half feel sorry for the dude, because, look at him. I mean, how pathetic is that? Here he is. He's got like 46 subscribers or something, shit like that. He's on like his 5th channel, mostly because he gets upset because nobody gives him money and he takes his channel down in a huff and then starts a new one. Or he'll do something where he gets his ass kicked off there. And, I said, I can't help but feel sorry for him. Now, you got to know my wife is one of the most compassionate people. She could find the good in the worst person. She goes, I don't feel sorry for that asshole at all. Fuck him. And I was like, whoa. And I was like, and she goes, I don't know how you could feel sorry for him. He's just an asshole. That's all he is, just an asshole. And I was like, holy cow, wife. No doubt, right?
I guess I don't feel sorry for him.
Even Flatbird says, I feel bad for him. I pray for him. I still pray for you, Sean.
Oh, yeah.
That you'll get your shit right. But, 45 of his subscribers are his sock accounts. Got Brian Stavely in the house. What's happening, brother?
Them are dirty socks.
Who? Dirty socks. Oh, dirty socks. Yeah.
Yeah, his sock account. Dirty socks.
Sock accounts. Yeah. So yeah, man. That's the thing. And this thing about these idiots, they go by, they're parrots. They're just parrots. They'll repeat something that one of these other jackasses has said.
Yeah.
Okay? Look, well, Richard Feynman said that science doesn't prove things. I don't give a flying rat's ass what Richard Feynman says. He is not the god of physics. I don't give a shit if somebody gave him an award or not. I don't stand by that statement, okay? Science does prove things because if I disprove something, I have proven that it's not right. Am I correct? So Richard Feynman can suck a fart out of my ass. I don't care what he has to say. So I see these idiots all say that, or they go, we have a pressure gradient. Yeah. How does that exclude containment? Well, because it feathers off to zero. No. The natural antecedent to the gradient is pressure, and the natural antecedent to pressure is containment. So you lose. Okay. Well, explain the pressure difference. Yeah, Dalton's law, temperature changes. There's a whole bunch of fucking shit involved here, bud. You're talking about a dynamic pressure system, not a hairspray can. Okay.
Yeah.
It's dynamic. It's working, forever fluctuating in temperature.
More pressure over here than there is over here. The sun's up here, creating more pressure here. Yeah, more moisture here. It's dynamic.
So, well, hurricanes' rotation in the south or the north prove the Earth is a globe in Coriolis effect. Well, let's take a look at that real carefully. We know that these things form when there's high and low pressure systems collide. In other words, cold air and warm air, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so south of the equator, where does the cold air come from? From the north or from the south? Oh, that's right. It comes from the south. It comes from the south. And in the
Yeah.
north, where's the cold air come from? From the north, it comes from the north. That's right. So we've got completely different dynamics happening there. And they don't always turn in those directions as prescribed, but because of the dynamics is what
Yeah.
is that. It's real
The
simple.
majority of.
I mean, this is just the little things they say as proofs are nothing more than anecdotal, misinterpreted evidences.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's about as saying, well, you smoke Marlboros and we found a Marlboro butt at the scene of a crime, so therefore you are the criminal that did it. It's like, well, it's,
Oh, never mind. 20 other people were there smoking the
yeah,
Marlboros too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how they operate. That's how they operate right there. And they just go by something. Well, everybody knows mass attracts mass. No, nobody knows that. They've been told that.
Proven. Never been proven.
It's never been observed.
No, it hasn't.
So there would be no reason to prove it.
That's right. There you go.
Okay? It's never been observed. So it's a non sequitur.
Yeah.
So that's where you got to pin these guys down with, it's kind of, they're not letting you get past the initial question before laying the other question on you. It's kind of like how the election works. Who do you want for president? Whoa, back up. You didn't ask me if I wanted a president
To begin with.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
who do I want for president? You didn't even ask me if I wanted a president. First, that's the initial question. You should say, do you want a president? And if so, who? Right? So I can cancel out the who thing, right, by saying, no, I don't want a president.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where you have to get with these guys. My brother-in-law, when he was a kid, I guess he would he had this figured out. He wouldn't ask his mom if he could get a toy when he was at the store. He would show up at the cart with 2 toys and say, which toy did you want me to get? That's
pretty intelligent there.
Yeah. And that's what they run that game on you all the time, Yeah. So when they, well, gradient. Well, you skipped a bunch of shit before gradient.
Yeah.
Okay. You skipped a whole bunch of shit. The sun is a huge ball of hydrogen that's collapsing in on us. Oh, stop. How did we get a ball of hydrogen to start with? How did that occur?
Yeah.
Somehow two molecules of gases, instead of bouncing from one another, they went
coalesced
together and said, hey, man, now that we're 2, we have more gravity. Oh, and then other gas molecules just miraculously stuck to those other. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that wouldn't float by a kid, man. Damn. Hey, little Billy, go over there and get me an armload of air and bring it over here and drop it in this bucket for me, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But it's pretty funny. I made that one guy. That was kind of cruel, but I at this point in time, I don't really care. When I had him calculate all that bullshit, and only for no reason. He says, we can make accurate predictions using gravity. And I said, you can. I said, what would be the range of a 62 grain, 5.56 millimeter round fired from an 18-inch barrel at 5 feet elevation underwater? All right, I'll find out. 30 hours later, and I kept asking him, you get that calculation yet? No, but I'll get it. I do it on my time. Yeah. He had to really dig to try to find an answer, see? And all I did was change the medium. That's all that was different, was I changed the medium. Put him in a tizzy for over 30 hours. He finally came back and told me, he says, approximately 14 feet. Okay. He says, so what does that prove? And I said, nothing. I just always wondered how far that bullet would go underwater. Thanks. Kept you busy and fucking wasting your time for well over a day.
Yeah.
You know, cool. Awesome. I said, but you did note that the only thing I had to change to throw you into a tizzy was the medium. That's all I had to do. And I fucked your whole physics up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because now where's your 9.8 meters per second squared? Where's that?
Yeah.
It's not existent. And I said, and plus, I don't really know how accurate your calculation could be because you never asked me if it was salt water or fresh. So
It changes the density of the medium right off the bat.
he stopped bugging me.
Yeah.
He stopped bugging me. Yeah. So that's a good thing. But, you know, that was kind of mean, but it was funny at the same time. He says, what's that supposed to prove now? I said, nothing. I just always wondered how far one would go. Thanks. Now, if I ever have to know that, I have a reference to go by.
Yeah.
I said, I made you wait 30 hours of your time. Sucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I went with that. I was just like, and I did. I had a nice little fucking jiffy on there of a guy going, sucker. Kind of a trollish thing to do, but you know what? I don't give a shit.
That's right.
And I got to say, that's where I'm at with these people. That's where I'm at with these people. I have no more patience with them. None.
Absolutely.
Now, the new person coming in, wanting to know or whatever, asking legitimate questions, I got all the patience in the world for that person. I do.
Absolutely.
But as far as these vile globe tards that we run across, I'm not going to be nice to them for a fucking minute.
Zero tolerance.
Nope. I ain't got no reason to.
No.
But molecular bonds exist. Yes, they do. Yes, molecular bonds do exist, but not with gases.
That's right.
I know, and that's the kind of shit, Glenn. Glenn, that's exactly the kind of shit they come back with, too. Are you trying to say that molecular bonds don't exist? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that when it comes to gases, see, that's where they always try to do. I don't think molecular bonds are real. No, nobody said that. Nobody said that, but that's what they'll do. Crack me up, man. What's this? Nothing really close to what I'm passing to. Oh, I didn't know what y'all was doing. So they're all in here talking about all kinds of Legion, Glober, Penguin, Peckers. Yes, Elite 333. You got it. Nailed it right on the head. Glober's going to globe. You got to lie to globe. You got to lie to glurf. I want to throw that one in McToon's face every minute I can. Got to lie to glurf. Do you know who's behind the final experiment? Nope, I sure don't. And then you find out it was him. It's like, you're a big fucking liar. I mean, God.
Yeah.
Geez, it wouldn't have nearly been as close to as a suspenseful thing and says, hey, McToon has set this thing up with this false pastor. You know, that'd be, oh, okay, well, never mind then. Instead of waiting,
entertaining it.
Yeah, they were just trying to put it out there with little teasers and all this other shit like it was some kind of a big event. And then when it was revealed, nobody biting. Nobody's interested. Nobody's interested in going with those clowns anywhere.
No.
You know?
End up being wanted for murder.
All right, I'm here to check my bags. Is that all you have, Dave? Is Kimber 45 in a bag of lie? Oh, okay. Do go out. The only one come back now. No, I mean, and
I
as
got
I
a
said,
bag of chain.
I would use it. I would use it for. I mean, I would only be because I defense, of course.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
listen,
yeah.
I don't. Those guys. Who knows, man? In the future, who knows how many bodies might be found underneath their crawl space? You know what I mean? That's the kind.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just like that Clinton clan. There's 20 dead bodies following them.
Oh my God, more than that.
Yeah. Well, that's 20 that I know of.
Oh, I think it's up to the 40s or something. I got a list, and it needs to be updated. It actually needs to go updated. I mean, all the way back, Vince Foster. That right there was
obvious.
Yeah, man. And it's like all the way back, Vince Foster, the kids that witnessed the Mena, Arkansas handoff. There's multitudes of people. I mean, going all the way back when Clinton was governor. When you got to understand, Clinton is a bastard child of Nelson Rockefeller. Okay, who was governor of Arkansas at the time of his conception. His mother was from Hot Springs, Arkansas, not Hope. Hot Springs, Arkansas was or is the heart of the Dixie Mafia. Bill Clinton had people snuffed all the fucking time, even when he was governor.
Yeah, yeah.
Even his good friend Ron Brown after he was president. Oh, his plane crashed, taken off. Yeah, why'd they find a 45 caliber bullet hole in his skull?
Yeah, he was suicided.
Yeah, right in the forehead, because everybody kills themselves like this.
Yeah,
God.
Exactly.
And why they get no trouble? And why they get in no trouble? Huh? What about when Trump, he was running that whole thing, his whole big landslide came about. He really gained up the numbers when he started that lock her up.
Oh, yeah.
Man, the ink wasn't dry on that certification before he said, leave them alone. They're good people.
Yeah. At their wedding. Crazy shit. Yeah.
Come on, y'all. And people ready to do it again. Here's the thing. Everybody going on about how dishonest these voting machines and shit were. Have they addressed that? Have they fixed that? No. What are these dumbasses going to do? They're going to go and do the same fucking thing again and then clamor and cry and scream when it gets rigged and they don't get their fucking way. There's a way to set off your civil war right there. Do it a second time. Do it a second fucking time. Make Joe get another 81 billion votes.
Right.
It'll be so obvious this time that it will have no choice but to spark the war that they're after.
Yeah.
Watch them do it too. Watch them do it. I wouldn't put that past them at all to go ahead and run that same shit again, put Biden back up there to
break shit,
everybody to lose their shit.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. And how come we're not hearing any election bullshit? By now, here we are, almost June of election year. How much election shit have you heard?
None.
Not nearly like you do in the previous years. Not nearly what you do in the previous years. Nope. No campaign ads. Not even on YouTube. I'm not even seeing any campaign ads. Are they planning on maybe not having an election?
Could be.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of weird shit going on that's just not normal. And I've got this impending feeling of like waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like something's coming. Something's going to happen.
When it's just like you said, there's enough people now that are becoming aware of the level Earth reality that they're observant that everything they've ever been told in their entire life and in their existence has been nothing but a lie, and they're sick of the lying bullshit. Mm-hmm. And it's time for a change, a real change.
Yep. I mean, this is what happens to you, especially when you come to the realization that you've been lied to about the very fundamentals of where you live, right?
Yeah.
Then your brain goes, wow, what in the hell else have they lied to me? I mean, if they can convince damn near the entire world of this impossibility being true, what else have they convinced people of? What else have they run on us? And then you start unraveling the yarn. Then you start unraveling the whole show. And that's where you start going in. You get to be like me. You start watching it going, okay, they're going to do this, this, and this. You're able to look at these events and know exactly where they're going with them. That's why I say watch them run the same fucking thing again. It's either going to be one or two scenarios. They're either going to go ahead and run a cheat and put Biden back in to spark up a war here, or they're going to go ahead and put Trump in so that he can look like a knight in shining armor coming in to rescue us, all the meanwhile doing everything for Israel.
Yeah.
So one of those two things is going to play out. That's the one or two. Those are the two ways I can see it playing out. But that would, think about it. I just saw somebody in the chat say Biden is done. You thought he was done that last election too, didn't you? The guy that stayed in his basement, didn't have any campaign speeches, would not debate.
Right.
Had rallies with 20 people all sitting far apart in circles and shit like that. And people say there ain't no way that fucking guy's going to win.
Yeah.
What happened?
You won.
Yep. So, yeah, he looks really bad. There's a lot of people making fun of him, but he's still running. And they still cheat.
Yep.
And you know they're still going to do whatever the fuck they want to do. Presidents are not elected. They're selected. They're selected. Exactly. You're right. Yes.
You're right.
But, so we're fucked either way. You know, it's just like on South Park. Yeah, well, we're not really, only if you actually subscribe to that. Those of us that realize that it's just a selected puppet doing the bidding of the controllers. That's all the president is. It doesn't matter. He just comes down to a popularity contest at that point. You see?
Yeah.
Both of them are going to do the bidding of their masters. It's like this. The same evil son of a bitch has got a puppet on each hand going, vote for me. No, vote for me. I promise you this. No, I promise you that. It's all the same dude. Yeah. He's got his money on both horses. He don't give a fuck who wins.
That's right. The only difference between them, one puts the right foot on, the right sock on first. The other one puts her left sock on first.
Well, what is it? A choice of which boot is on your neck? A left boot or a right boot? Which difference does it make? I mean, I've been watching this go on since I was a kid, from Lyndon Johnson all the way up to our current status, and I keep hearing about him talking about moving forward to where. I never understood.
We're still
progressing
here.
To what? I don't know. Changing. It's always change. Everybody's always talking about they're going to change. Is there ever going to be a point where the shit's going to be right? They always, and they do change shit. And what I've noticed that it's been a steady left, right off a cliff.
Yeah.
We've never gotten better. We have changed, not for the better. We have progressed toward dystopia. So stop. I don't know why people listen to these fucking people. Why would anybody put their faith in other men?
Nope.
Especially people that are seeking power. Do you realize that that's the last person that should have power is anyone that seeks it?
Absolutely. They're the tyrant of them all.
Of course. Of course. They always promise to do good shit for you, but they don't. They always end up fucking you somehow. Even Trump with his $6 trillion and his warp speed. How come nobody's calling him out on that?
Yeah.
No,
Come
he's
second out of the rest of them.
dude's laughing at you out there, getting everybody dancing to a gay anthem, YMCA. I mean, are you shitting me?
It's fucking crazy.
And these people eat it right the fuck up, man. They eat it right the fuck up. See these people walking around with their MAGA hats and their fucking bumper stickers and bullshit on there. And it's like, look, I understand embracing your culture, embracing your heritage, embracing your family and those things which are right. I get that. You don't need that dude in order to do that.
Fuck, that dude's gonna steer you away from that.
False messiah, man, false prophet.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, do you think it's just, hey, this is a good idea? Where Israel just gives him the Moshiach crown? Really? That's what we're gonna do. He's the Moshiach now. He's the Messiah. What?
Yeah.
No, we already know what the Jews' Messiah is. It's not a peace-loving Jesus.
Right.
Right? Their idea of a Messiah is somebody who's going to come and vanquish their enemies. So are they looking at Trump as someone who's going to come in and vanquish their enemies? Which is everyone?
Yeah.
Come on. The sooner people get up, yes, be your own hero. That's right, David. You got to. You got to. Stop looking for other men to solve your problems. Take accountability for your own life. Stop looking for a surrogate mommy and daddy, because all they do is whoop your ass. Now, you got to say, they do care. They do care. I mean, they might not care if you have a place to live or any food to eat, but they do care about your teeth. And put fluoride and make sure it's in your water so that you, as long as your teeth are good and you have quality 4K television, that's all that matters. You don't really have to have food in your belly. You don't really have to have shelter or anything else like that. But they do have to make sure that you have fluoride and 4K TV. So they do care in some respect. Anyway, I think I'm going to wind it down. We're going over a little 2.5 hours. I guess Ryan is not going live tonight. I saw no stream set up, and I see he doesn't message me back. So I don't know what he's doing. I'll have to give him a call and find out. Anyway, you got anything you want to leave everybody with tonight?
No, I just like to say thanks, Dave, for all you do. You definitely set a lot of people on the straight path and express your facts in a very understandable way. So I just want to say thanks for having me on. Thanks for doing what you do. Keep up the good work.
I appreciate that, Rem. I really do. I really appreciate that. You know, to know that there are fruit of my endeavors that's great, man. That encourages me. But I often find that that's the best thing. You know, if you take something and break it down so that it's right there for the common man, you know, put it in a context, in an example that they're familiar with. You know, you just come on and start rattling off a bunch of shit. People aren't familiar with that.
Right.
You know, so I'll say it that way and then say, okay, so what that means is this, and this. If you had this and you did that, you know, and then gives it more, oh, okay, yeah, I dig. I've had that experience. I know exactly what he's talking about, and it helps, you know. Yeah, we're winning. We're winning, Ram. So that's a beautiful thing. All right. Well, thank you for coming on, and you're welcome anytime, Ram. That goes for everybody that shows up to the show. I pinned the link in the top of the chat on every show. You're welcome to come on as long as you adhere to conversational decorum. And that means, you know, not talking over and interrupting people and that kind of shit, or just being a general asshole. We're pretty tolerant on here. And so anybody's welcome to come on. We had That's right. We had 88. We got 89 right now. 89 watching. That's just on YouTube. On the Rumble side, we got 8. So it's 90, 99, 97 people altogether. That's not bad at all. So as we always like to say right here on Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, don't forget the Lord loves a working man. Don't trust Whitey, and see your doctor and fire him because he'll probably kill you. Good night, everybody. Happy Memorial Day. And don't let the propaganda get you killed.
Absolutely. Good night, Dave.